America woke up to heartbreaking news that few saw coming. Just hours after returning from a high-profile diplomatic trip to Ukraine, longtime U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham unexpectedly passed away at the age of 71 following what his office described as a brief and sudden illness. There had been no public indication that anything was wrong, making the announcement all the more shocking. For more than 3 decades, Graham had been one of the most recognizable figures in American politics, known for his outspoken personality, his influence on foreign policy, and his complicated political relationships. His passing has sparked tributes from world leaders, emotional reactions across the political spectrum, and questions about the future of the causes he spent years fighting for. Just one day before the announcement, Lindsey Graham was carrying out what would become one of the final public appearances of his career. He was in Kyiv meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, discussing continued support for Ukraine and new sanctions aimed at increasing pressure on Russia. Throughout the visit, Graham appeared energetic and focused, speaking confidently about the importance of standing with America's allies. There were no visible signs of health concerns, and few could have imagined that these meetings would soon become part of his final chapter. After completing his diplomatic visit, he returned to the United States. Then, only hours later, his office announced that the veteran senator had died following what it described as a brief and sudden illness. No official cause of death was immediately released, leaving many stunned by how quickly events had unfolded. One of the first major reactions came from President Donald Trump. In a heartfelt statement, Trump described Graham as a true American patriot who dedicated his life to serving the country. He praised the senator's commitment to public service and said he would be greatly missed. Back during the 2016 Republican presidential primary, Lindsey Graham openly criticized Donald Trump, questioning his leadership and warning fellow Republicans about supporting his campaign. At the time, their political feud seemed impossible to repair. Even after Trump entered the White House, the two occasionally clashed over major issues, reinforcing the idea that they would never truly become partners. But as the years passed, their relationship gradually evolved. Graham increasingly supported many of Trump's priorities, including judicial appointments, border security, and national defense. Their political partnership grew stronger with each passing year. Even after the events surrounding January 6, when Graham publicly expressed frustration with Trump, the relationship eventually recovered. By the time of Trump's return to the White House, Graham had once again become one of his most trusted allies in the Senate, frequently defending the administration and working closely with the president on major legislative priorities. While his political transformation often attracted media attention, Lindsey Graham's greatest influence came through foreign policy. For decades, he built a reputation as one of Washington's strongest advocates for an assertive American role on the world stage. He supported military action in Iraq following the September 11 attacks and later became one of the loudest critics of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, arguing that the decision could weaken America's position globally. His commitment to Ukraine remained equally firm. Even as opinions within his own party became more divided, Graham consistently argued that supporting Kyiv was essential for both American security and international stability. He visited Ukraine numerous times during the conflict, met repeatedly with its leaders, and continued pushing for stronger sanctions against Russia until his final days. As news of his death spread around the world, tributes began arriving from leaders who had worked alongside him over many years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he was deeply saddened, remembering Graham's repeated visits to Ukraine and thanking him for standing with the Ukrainian people during some of their most difficult moments. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also honored the senator, describing him as one of Israel's greatest friends in American politics and praising his unwavering support for the country's security. Back in Washington, lawmakers from both major political parties expressed their condolences. Although many had disagreed with Graham on important issues throughout his career, colleagues acknowledged his determination, his willingness to defend his beliefs, and the lasting influence he had on America's role in world affairs. As the nation reflects on Lindsey Graham's legacy, attention is now turning toward what comes next. His passing leaves a significant vacancy in the United States Senate and marks the end of one of the Republican Party's most influential voices on foreign policy. South Carolina will begin the legal process of filling his Senate seat, while leaders in Washington continue debating many of the issues Graham championed throughout his career, including support for Ukraine, national security, and America's alliances abroad. His final diplomatic mission now carries added significance, serving as a reminder that he remained actively engaged in public service until the very end. What do you think Lindsey Graham's political legacy will be? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest political news and analysis. Thanks for watching.